Good morning and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Urbana-Champaign. My name is Rev KB Karen Bush, your consulting minister.
And good morning. I'm Becky Densmore, your chair of the Board of Trustees here at UUC-UC. We are so glad to be with you on this beautiful Christmas morning with a fully pre-recorded service put together by a variety of lovely people, just especially for you this morning.
It is good to be together this day after Christmas morning here in one of the sleighs of the holiday spirit. In this season of generosity and gratitude, it is very good to come together with the beautiful, sacred variety of individuals and identities that make each person here unique and vitally important to us. Just for you being you, in person or online, the connection here at UUC-UC is real, and so is the love.
Absolutely.
By the way, Becky, do you know what treat we're all in for this morning?
Why, no. No, I don't. But what is it?
Well, we are all going to be offered a delightful post-Christmas reflection on the practicing gratitude, led by our denomination's president, Reverend Susan Frederick-Gray. And that is not all.
Really? What?
Our very own Reverend Florence is going to offer us the benediction and a blessing to send us on our way in the day and out into our lives.
What an incredible gift, and it's so awesome. That's going to be amazing.
I'm looking forward to it. It's a wonderful time to be together.
It sure is. You know, our congregation's mission, it's to build community, seek inspiration, promote justice, and find peace. We are a church of many different theologies that values deeds above creeds. We are a church that strives to build beloved community in the here and now.
If you want to follow along with the written order of service, you can find that link just below this video on our website. And if you want to chat with your fellow UUCUers, members, you can find the live chat box on our YouTube page.
And you know, while we are a pre-recorded service, you still can contribute to our joys and sorrows, which is just a really important part of our service. And when you do that, please note that we are going to be providing them in our next edition of the e-news. So they will be heard by everyone and read by for our church.
Every one of the joys and sorrows that's sent in is like gold to us. It's precious to us.
Yes.
And we care about each and every one of them.
Yeah, really important.
This congregation chooses to begin every Sunday with a formal acknowledgement of the indigenous nations of this land. It is a practice that connects us to the history of this place and our own responsibilities as stewards and members of a wider community. In fact, as we are here in this sleigh, we are surrounded by fields all around us. Wherever you are listening today, please bring to mind the indigenous peoples and histories of your place.
Now there will be a moment of silence after the acknowledgement, and in that silence, I do invite you to consider how, specifically, you might amplify the voices or contribute some support to our Native activist this week. We recognize and acknowledge that we gather today on Indigenous land taken through deception, coercion, and violence. We acknowledge the continued displacement and oppression of Indigenous communities, and we lift up Native commitments to survival, identity, and the protection of this world. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Becky. We are truly delighted to have each and every one of you with us this morning. And we invite you now to Join Reverend Sally as she leads us in lighting our chalice. But first, shall we do it, Becky?
I'm just saying, let's do it.
Merry Christmas! Woohoo!
Good morning and Merry Christmas. My name is Reverend Sally Fritchie, and I am the Associate Minister of this congregation. Please join me now in lighting your own candle or chalice at home. Lighting these flames every time we gather together is a way to mark out this space as a shared circle of light despite the distance. We light our chalice each Sunday with these words. As we kindle this flame, we reignite our commitment to the mission of our congregation, to build community, seek inspiration, promote justice, and find peace.
Good morning. My name is Avalon Ruby, and I'm the Assistant for Religious Engagement and Exploration. When we talk about things that we're grateful for, it is often spiritual or about people that are around us or about achievements that we've been able to do. But I wanted to think about being thankful for the earth and all of the things that it provides for us. This was inspired by April Polisari's book, Thank You, Earth. Thank you, Earth, for swamps and prairies and forests that allow for moments of reflection. Thank you, Earth, for sunflowers, the exact hue of my favorite color. Thank you, Earth, for creatures big and small to love and cherish. Thank you, Earth, for beautiful landscapes that awe and inspire me. Thank you, Earth, for long swaths of land to explore and travel for. Thank you, Earth, for growing plants and trees that we can use to build a better future. Thank you for housing us, for loving us, for holding space for us. Thank you for being our home.
We as Unitarian Universalists acknowledge that our circle of care doesn't stop at our church doors. We are deeply connected to the community we find ourselves in and to the wider world. Please continue to keep an eye on your e-news weekly newsletter for opportunities to show up, to find support, to get involved, and to be part of this community. We also ask, as 2022 fast approaches, that you keep your church home here at UUCUC in mind in any year-end charitable giving. Each Sunday, in recognition of our very real interdependence and reliance on one another, we pass the plate and share our offering with an organization doing the work of justice in the world. During the month of December, half of our collection has been going to the Partner Church Committee. The mission of the Partner Church Committee is to develop long-term mutually supportive relationships with our fellow UUs in Transylvania, Romania, and in the Khasi Hills in Northeast India. These non-USA based UU communities have their own unique and rich histories, and our support and connection with them helps keep the many voices of international UUism alive and thriving. You can give by text or through the online portal on our website. Half of your donation will go toward the work of this church, and half will go toward our partner churches. We invite you to give whatever is generous for you, and know that anything you give will be gratefully received and put to work, making a real difference in the world. The offering will now be taken.
Dear ones, I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, these past few months have been rough. As the pandemic wears on, I have experienced a level of exhaustion I have not known before. And it's not just the pandemic, it's witnessing the devastating impacts of widespread disinformation, the attacks on our democracy, the attacks on people's lives and rights. It's the attack on women's rights and reproductive health. And it is living through the increasingly frequent impacts of climate change. It has all been so much. And there is still so much grief at the loss of loved ones, family members, friends, and the nearly incalculable loss of so many lives to this pandemic. The despair is real. If you are feeling it, I want you to know you are not alone. I knew this in-between or liminal time would be more difficult than the early days of the pandemic, but I didn't really appreciate how it would feel in my body and spirit. But here's the thing that is saving me now. I have found myself out of necessity turning towards gratitude. As we enter this season of holidays and holy days, we have an opportunity to draw our attention to what sustains us, to draw our attention to the sources of love and care and gratitude in our lives. However you celebrate, holidays are a time and the rituals that surround them are an opportunity for reflection. They often invite us to remember our past, which can bring joy as well as sorrow. But they also remind us to be attentive to the present moment. The writer and activist Adrienne Marie Brown writes, "I have had to soften my grip on a fearful future narrative and return to the humility of the present." I have had to soften my grip on a fearful future narrative and return to the humility of the present. Spiritually, in my daily practice, I am leaning into gratitude and attention to the sustaining present moment because I need a way to get in touch with the sources of joy and compassion in my life. Joy and compassion are life-sustaining. We are made for joy and compassion. Leaning into gratitude for this earth, gratitude for the relationships that sustain me, leaning into the presence of love that surrounds me and all of us, leaning into the gift that is present with each breath of life. This practice is bringing more joy and light into my spirit. Gratitude is a foundation for so many of the values and qualities that we hope to nurture. Gratitude helps us appreciate our loved ones and bring more care and attention to that which matters most. With time and consistency, practicing gratitude does nurture more joy in life. It makes us attentive to the beauty and the gifts that surround us and that are not of our own making. Gratitude helps us turn our unrealized desires to an appreciation of what we already have, and for what Adrienne Marie Brown describes as the humility of the present. Gratitude is a foundation for touching the earth with reverence, a practice of seeing life and the beauty of creation as a gift and treating it as such. Practicing gratitude, being intentional in taking time to name what we are grateful for, also reminds us of our fundamental interdependence. When I ask myself, what am I grateful for? I think of the people that I love and who love me. I think of the relationships that sustain me. I think of my sweet dog and how much I love him, how grateful I am for his presence in our family. I think of the gift of the earth. I open my attention and give thanks for the blue sky or the rain, for the trees and the sun, for the wind and the life-giving water. I remember the fundamental interdependence in which I am held, in which all life is held. And I feel that as a source of strength and connection. One of the things I love most about gratitude is that it's concrete. We all know what gratitude means. We know what it is to feel thankful. On the one hand, gratitude is simple and clear. However, when we really foster an intentional practice of being mindful every day, of taking time every day to think about what we are grateful for, to think about the gifts that have come to us and sustain us, we realize that gratitude actually has the power to deeply change our perspective. It has the power to shape and reshape our communities and our culture. Gratitude is incredibly powerful. Gratitude is a concrete practice that with time unlocks a generosity of spirit and a generosity of love. Experiencing our interconnectedness, experiencing the ways that we are not isolated beings, but deeply connected and held by gifts not of our own making, inspires a generosity of spirit for ourselves and for others. It inspires a desire to nurture those connections with love, to pay more attention to what matters. So I am calling myself back to gratitude these days. I am calling myself back to a practice of gratitude to find my way through the grief and the fear and the struggle and the despair. Now, to be clear, this practice of gratitude doesn't make our grief or my grief go away. And it doesn't mean I don't still have moments of fear and anger or feel gripped by despair. Intentional spiritual practice actually makes space for all of us to welcome whatever is present in our hearts. And gratitude reminds me that that is not all that life holds for me. There are so many ways to create a regular practice of gratitude. I know people who have gratitude journals who spend a little time each day writing down 1 or 2 or 3 things that they were grateful for from that day. Many years ago, I had a practice where every time I would cross the threshold of my home, either to leave or to come back home, as I crossed the threshold, I would pause and take a breath, and I would recall something that I was grateful for from the day or from the morning. These days, I am making time in my morning practice to ask myself what I am grateful for and to open my heart to those gifts. When our spirits are worn and weary from grief and loss and fear and anger, which legitimately our spirits are rightfully weary. When we are too short with ourselves or others, too impatient or critical or negative with ourselves or others, gratitude can be a practice that nurtures in us a generosity of spirit, a generosity of kindness. So much right now seeks to isolate us, to divide us, to wear us out and wear us down. Turning towards a concrete practice of gratitude helps combat the ways in which we are being called to isolation and division, because gratitude actually turns us toward each other. Reminds us of our interconnectedness, which is so critically, spiritually needed in our world these days. I know there are times in our lives when our despair and our grief is so great that we may not be able to even name one thing we are grateful for. I know those days are real. However, I also know that even if nothing comes, that just calling our attention to look for things we are grateful for helps open our eyes, our attention, our spirits, so that with time, we can become more aware of the gifts around us. Gratitude and practicing gratitude each day has been saving me. It's been reminding me of joy. It's been inspiring in me more joy, compassion, pleasure, humility. It's been reminding me of the gifts that are present in each moment. And finally, I want to say how grateful I am for all of you, and how grateful I am for this faith that we share. This faith that nurtures and sustains and holds me in these days. My prayer for you, my offering for you, I pray that there may be more moments of gratitude and joy in your days. And know that we are, all of us, deeply connected by unseen but real threads of compassion, of humanity and care, and that this is a source of strength and love in our lives. Blessings to you, blessed be, and I love you.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth, keepers of faith, makers of peace, and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are one. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our
I invite you, as you are willing, into this time of meditation and reflection and into this practice of gratitude. If you like to write as a way of reflection, feel free to grab a journal or a piece of paper or something to write with. It's also okay just to find a comfortable position to sit in or stand in or whatever is most comfortable for you and your body to help you feel at ease. First, I invite you to take a few relaxing breaths. In and out. Feel free to close your eyes if that is most comfortable, or to leave them gently open. Breathe in a way that feels comfortable and relaxing. I invite you at first just to pay attention to your body. If there's a place of tension or pain, imagine breathing your breath into that part of your body. Imagine the breath sort of expanding that area of tension and then breathing out through that pain or tightness, feeling the muscles release with the out breath. With breathing in, sort of expand your attention in any area of tension. Breathe out through that area, letting the tension go. Breathing in through areas of tension and out, letting go of that tension or pain if you can. Now I invite you to bring your attention to your heart space, to your chest, maybe your abdomen if you prefer. Again, just gentle breaths, breathing that feels natural and relaxing. Just be aware of anything that you're feeling. If you're feeling joy or calm and peace. If you're feeling sadness or grief or anxiousness, just be aware of it. Breathe alongside that feeling. Offer yourself compassion for whatever may be present to you right now. As you continue to breathe, ask yourself if there's anything or anyone you are feeling grateful for. Just ask yourself in your heart, what or who are you grateful for? Is there anyone who's caring for you, showing you care, inspiring you, comforting you? Anyone who you love, who you are grateful for? Hold that person, those people. Visualize them, hold them in the gratitude that you feel for them. Breathe in that feeling of gratitude. breathe out that gratitude for those loved ones. I invite you to just take a few more breaths. And as you do so, I invite you to think about anything about this day, anything that's happened, anything that you're looking forward to. If you have a window nearby, maybe you can see some sky or sun or tree or rain. Just be present to that. Take it in. Hold in your attention anything that you are grateful for from this day, that you're grateful to be looking forward to in this day. Anything that's present to you right now. I'm giving thanks for the sunshine after so much rain. Just hold that gratitude and that attention in your heart, in your mind, as you breathe in and out gently. Take a few more breaths and imagine just opening your heart space wide and asking if there's anything else you're grateful for. Their friends or community, faith, connections that you appreciate and feel attentive to. To open your heart to other things then in your life in this moment that you are feeling grateful for. Hold those in your attention. Breathe in that feeling of gratitude. Breathe in imagining or holding in your mind those people, those things, those connections. Breathe in that gratitude. It's also okay if some of our relationships are mixed with other emotions besides gratitude. Be present to that. Breathe it in. As you continue to breathe, just take a moment to hold in your attention all these connections, all these relationships, all these gifts that you are grateful for. Bring them to your attention again together. Breathe in the gratitude you feel. Breathe out gratitude across those connections. And as you are ready, as you continue to just breathe gently, you can bring your attention back to this time, to your body, to each other, gathered in meditation. And as we close, and as you breathe gently, maybe offer a word in silence or out loud or spoken Just a word of gratitude for these gifts. Blessed be, and amen.
In this service, dedicated to gratitude on the day after Christmas, I just want to say to you, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be here with you, to walk with you, to be a small part of the long, long history of this wonderful congregation. Thank you for your caring spirit and for the deep spirit of justice here that has inspired me. Thank you for all the Sunday mornings we have shared together, singing, celebrating, sometimes weeping, and to the co-creators of those Sunday mornings, the musicians and singers, worship associates, and readers. Thank you. Thank you to the longtime members who put up with a new minister, and to those of you who were drawn to becoming part of this community while I was here. Thank you to all the leaders that I worked side by side with. And especially thank you to those leaders for your forgiveness for when I made mistakes. Thank you to the current and former members of the staff. There are no words for how grateful I am for the time that we spent together and worked together. Thank you to all of you who have remained connected and supportive of each other and of this congregation during the time of physical separation over the last 2 years. And thank you to those who sent cards and books and delicious fruits and vegetables during my medical leave to nurture my body and spirit. And thank you for letting me go, as hard as it is. As I've said before, it's hard for me too, and I will miss you. But your grace and love, even as we part, sustains me. There are so many memories and gratitudes I could speak, but I want to close with this blessing to you. Just as the old year makes way for the new, may your life and the life of this congregation unfold in beauty and in grace. Please join me now for the words of our chalice extinguishing that we have been saying together every Sunday since the pandemic began. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.